Hey, Tim, do you like horror movies?
Why, yes, I do, Matt.
You want to hear two ridiculous horror fanatics discuss all the scary movies that just came out?
Wait, you must be talking about our podcast, Happy Horror Time.
You bet your ass I am.
Oh, clean it up, Matt.
No, see, that's the best part. On Happy Horror Time, you get uncensored and unpolished reviews of all things horror. We find all the latest releases, we watch them, and then discuss them in our real talk kind of style.
AKA, we're crazy.
That too.
And don't forget, we also interview classic horror stars and insiders, asking them all the questions you've always wanted to know, but were afraid to ask.
Like when Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp told us how they found her stand-in for that big reveal at the end.
Yep, you gotta listen to find out.
Check out Happy Horror Time, a podcast for horror lovers.
Or anyone who just wants to have a good time.
Because anyone can have a happy horror time.
Life goes by so fast. What's the point?
What do you want me to do, huh? I don't have a job. I'm a loser. Shoot me. Excuse me, can I get a falafel with hot sauce, a side order of baba ganoush, and a seltzer, please?
You want Lebanese delight?
Sure, bring it out.
Your mother was a woman with no common sense.
Would you hurry up?
Hello, Chanel. Of course, your father was a man without a conscience.
You think I couldn't be a library clerk?
Fine. You can start right now.
I assume you're familiar with the Dewey Decimal System?
I don't know the first thing about you. Your life, your friends. They're normal people, just like your friends.
Hey, hello! Hello! Natasha! Leo, I'm going to be 24 soon. I haven't done anything.
Yo, what happened here?
They're organized by the Dewey Decimal System.
Yo, there are over 1,000 albums here.
They were a mess.
What are you, my mother?
Don't mix those up.
Mary, they're jeans.
Vogue magazine calls Parker Posey wickedly funny. She's got a personality like a neon exclamation point.
You won't believe what I did last night. It was possibly the wildest night of my existence.
I'm happy to see you're practicing safe sex.
First Look Pictures proudly presents
Sometimes you can be kind of goofy.
Parker Posey.
She's good.
You've outdone yourself. So silly.
The party is just beginning.
Party Girl.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, people. This is a fun episode. I love this movie.
They're always fun episodes, and they're always great movies, but this one is extra special.
I've been watching this movie for, God, is it 26 years? 20? Oh, I don't even. I lost count.
Just turned 25 last year.
Oh, good gravy. Oh, my goodness. Well, everybody out there listening, listeners out there in Podcast Land, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott, and these are the movies that made us gay.
Yay. Scott, why don't you talk a little bit about what we watched and who we have on the show today?
We watched Party Girl, released June 9th, 1995, with Rod of Bright Light, Bright Light.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I had reached out to you for an episode, and we settled on Party Girl. And it's perfect because we've been wanting to do Party Girl for a while, but we just hadn't landed on the right guest. And Rod, you are like the perfect guest for this episode. I couldn't think of anyone more suitable to talk about this movie than you.
I know. Well, I live in the Lower East Side. I'm a DJ. I mean, like every sort of trope cliche from the movie you can possibly. I mean, I'm not a librarian, but like,
well,
I can try.
Yet.
I do organize my records. You know.
Have you ever considered the career of library science, though, after watching this movie?
No, I a long time ago, I used to do some library archive research for a friend of mine, and I remember one of the librarians there in the archive telling me that she was going to college to study being a librarian, and I didn't realize people did that. So that was my first introduction. And then later on, I saw Party Girl, and I was like, oh, wow, that was her.
I have considered a career in library science because I've worked at bookstores, and I was also just a big fan of this movie that did make me think at one point of my life, should I go to library science school? And I even looked into taking classes at USC.
Wow.
And wrong school to look into taking classes because USC is very, very expensive.
Right. I mean, to me, everything in America is very expensive when it comes to education. Yes. So save those pennies.
True.
Honey.
But I was close, though.
Well, we could still just Photoshop you onto a rowing student's body and
Yeah,
make it.
There's still time.
Make it seem like you've got a scholarship. Time. Yes, but yeah, like you said, this movie came out in 1995. It feels so much like those 90s indie movies that were I mean, you don't see movies that like this movie looks so like real. Like the nightclubs aren't super well lit, you know, like her apartment is I can't say enough about her apartment. It's like, oh wow, it's this fabulous loft and it's huge, but it's kind of gross and dirty. Like it's just a dingy, like dark space, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not like movie, you know, produced.
It's not a movie lot.
No, it's very much a time capsule. I think this movie, like everything about it, is such an accurate depiction of what life was like. I think, according to all my friends that were living in New York at the time, like my friend Bill Coleman was actually the music supervisor on Party Girl. So all of the songs on it, like he kind of picked for the soundtrack, which is just amazing. And listening to him talk about what it was like being in New York at the time, I think it was basically just like a documentary, you know?
Oh yeah. And we're coming in on, I would say, the tail end of the, you know, the Club Kid kind of era in New York City. Guillermo Diaz's character mentions spinning at an outlaw party. You know, you heard about outlaw parties from like Michael Alec and James St. James and all that crew, and just like busting into subway platform or a McDonald's or something and just having a party, having an event, having a happening. And it's just like those times have long gone. But
they've evolved, let's say. I think, you know, they don't exist like that, but everything shifts and changes and has a new form, I suppose. But yeah, like New York isn't like that anymore, but then, you know, nowhere is it?
Yeah. Right, absolutely. This movie has an amazing cast, and Parker Posey is like...
Yeah. And I don't know what Parker Posey had done prior to this. I know that she had worked in soaps, and that she was just sort of an actress that casting agents knew at the time, but this was kind of her big break.
She'd had like a small role in Coneheads and Dazed and Confused.
That's right. She's one of the daughters in Coneheads, and she's one of the upperclassmen yelling at the freshmen.
She's one of the mean seniors
true,
in Dazed and Confused. Air raid bitches.
But can you imagine anybody seeing Parker Posey and not being like, why don't I just construct a film around you?
Yeah.
Because she's just so incredible. Like everything about her, the deadpan expression, like I can't cope with how much I love her in, well, this and every other single movie I've seen her in.
Oh, yes.
I forget what date. Oh, no, wow. No, Waiting for Guffman was after this, wasn't it? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, a year after this. In my mind, I would imagine her being discovered on Waiting for Guffman, and then this film would be constructed around her.
Yes.
You know? But that's not what happened. Okay, scrap that.
And then House of Yes probably came out in, 98, 97? I think. Yeah.
It was a while later, wasn't it? I don't remember what date that was.
So kind of my introduction of this movie, of when I first watched it, I remember being super interested in Parker Posey around kind of the late 90s, because I'm a big fan of the Scream movies, and just me on the casting list looking into Parker Posey, who was cast in it, and then just kind of going through her filmography. I grew up in a small town, like a small Montana town, very disconnected from any cool New York party universe, and this movie was very hard to find in our video store. I had to get this movie previously used from the big city over from a video store. And that's how we discovered it. And kind of my big introduction to just kind of gay life in New York in the mid-90s. I mean, this is probably the first time I ever saw someone like Lady Bunny in a movie, because she's in the opening shot of the movie.
I just heard it drop. It's a little plastic baby boy in a noose. It's got to be here somewhere. Vicky, look for it. Look. I cannot make my big entrance with one earring on. This is ridiculous.
It's so great, and as well, my favorite thing is that she's credited as itself in the credits, which is just so fabulous.
Isn't also lady in quotation marks? I think it's the Lady Bunny, and I think the word
it's the Lady Bunny. Yeah, I think maybe her stage name changed a little bit. She was having fun with it, back in the day. Like everything about this movie is so deliciously tongue in cheek and so self-referencing and so self-deprecating, and it's so wonderful.
I mean, those first shots of the camera going up the stairs to this apartment, you just hear the thumping music at the top of the stairs. Bunny's just there, and I mean, it's classic Lady Bunny, but it's 1995, so this wig that she's wearing is like teeny tiny for Bunny.
She's upgraded since.
We're just so used to seeing these like over the top outrageous
giant
wigs
Dusty
on her.
Springfield wig.
Yeah, and like I said, if you watch this movie, it's a big drag queen wig. It's a big blonde bouffant, but for Bunny, it's just like, oh,
like
look
a
how
pussy
teeny.
wig.
Yes, exactly. I was saying it's a little bus driver. She's got this kitty cat going on, but it's iconic. And I remember at the time, I had just graduated high school. I was 17, and it was just like, this is, I mean, I grew up in LA, so it's not like I'm from a small town or anything, but still, even to somebody from Los Angeles, New York is still a bigger city.
Yeah, it's also very different. Like
completely.
The culture, from what I understand of like people that grew up in both coasts. During those times, like the going out culture is so different. It's so different now, like walking around the East Village, like flitting between bars because they're next door to each other, like going into someone's apartment, going back out. Like it's such a different culture from the LA, driving between destinations culture. And they're like different worlds. It's mad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When was the first time you watched Party Girl?
Honestly, it was very recently. It was 2013. I obviously knew what it was. Yeah, I hadn't seen it start to finish until about 2013, and I was dating this guy, and it was his favorite film, so we watched it at his apartment in New York, and it was just like, how have I never seen this all the way through? I think because I'd seen other films like Waiting for Guffman and lots of other things, like Britain didn't canonize these kinds of movies in the way that America did, so they weren't part of our regular film conversations. So I'd seen clips and memes shared again and again and again. So in my mind, I thought I'd seen it. But seeing it, having moved to New York, I think it was like a really amazing experience. And already knowing people that were in it or had done the music for it or whatever, and then being like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. To me, again, this 17-year-old like gay kid watching this movie, pretty sure that this was the first thing that I had seen Guillermo Diaz in. Yeah. It was right before Nowhere was released.
Yeah.
My friends and I were fans of Greg Araki movies, and definitely when Nowhere came out, that was big and exciting, but that was 97, I think, or 98. So, seeing Guillermo Diaz as this character, and he's this Latin young kid, and he's a DJ and he's spinning, and just seeing these types of characters in a movie. And I mean, it wasn't a mainstream movie by any means, very independent, very small. It wasn't as something that my mom and my aunts were going to see, but still, to me, I was like, wow, this is so cool, because there's so many different types of people in this movie.
Yes.
It's like, the main character is Parker Posey, and she's like a straight, white, pretty girl. But at the same time, it is filled with so many characters. And her best friend was somebody who looked, just like me at the time. So I was like, this is amazing.
I feel like it does a really good job of, even to this day, representing New York, and that it's got... sections about immigration, about integration, about substance abuse, about party lifestyle, about holding a real job and still going out. Just the way people mix, and like how bonkers New York is with like the different types of people that live here. And like, I'm an immigrant, and listening, seeing Mustafa's point of view and hers, and the whole... just like everything about it is like, it's so accurate. It's really just sort of like magnifying glass over what it is like to live in New York City. I still think nothing has really changed that much. I mean, like I still sometimes go and order like a falafel with a side of baba ganoush and a seltzer at a falafel stand. Which is still there. Yeah, it's an amazing little film, and it really does sort of like talk about stuff or show stuff, even if it doesn't go into depth, which I think is really important, and not many other films at the time were doing it, you know?
Yeah, and I love that Mary, as our main character, our lead, she is definitely a flawed person.
Oh, she's an
and not
asshole.
just yeah.
She's a
It's not
total
just like in a
fucking asshole.
funny, it's funny at first. You're just like, oh my god, this character, she's too much. But like even almost at the end of the movie, you know, the way she kind of brings Mustafa into this party
it's gross.
to be an accessory, and he calls her on it, and you're just like, oh man, she really did that.
Honestly, the worst part of the movie for me are when she's like, "It's funny, you're serving falafel. It's funny." It's like, that's really hideous, and I'm really glad that it's in there because it does show like cultural appropriation and how grotesque that is. You know, it's so gross. People don't understand that a lot of. I think that they put it in to show how other movies were doing that and not realizing they were doing it. And I think it was a super smart move, and I'm really, really pleased that relationship is in there. It's so important, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, especially because, like you said, another movie, a mainstream movie, our hero would fall in love with this immigrant, you know, character, and it wouldn't have those kinds of layers.
Yeah,
I would probably even say that the immigrant character who works at the falafel stand probably would not even be a principal lead.
No.
Like, your main actor would just go up and order something and then walk away, and then they would be done. They would have some cute exchange, and then they would be on their way.
Do you have some information about the filmmakers, or should we just jump right into kind of a...
Well, it's directed by Daisy von
Schurler-Meyer.
And yeah, she kind of developed this movie just living in New York, being surrounded by the New York club scene. And her mother is in the movie. She's Judy.
Judy. It's fun.
But yeah, it just seemed like it was budgeted at $150,000, and it was shot in 19 days, and much of the cast and crew were already immersed in the queer downtown club scene long before the movie was made.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. Like we were saying, Mary is our main character, played by Parker Posey.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Girl about town. Does she host parties?
Yeah.
She's
like a host in. Well, the term host was confusing to me because in the UK, a host is somebody that like gets up on stage and announces stuff. But here, like a host is like a server almost that like just facilitates stuff, right?
They walk around the room, see if everyone's having a good time. Do you need a drink? Sort of facilitate talent that's coming in and out of the night.
Yeah. So I think we didn't really have that kind of system as like a quote unquote host until maybe like the 2000s. You know, to my knowledge anyway, in London, we definitely didn't have that. Like, if you had a host where I grew up, the host was on the stage singing a song, doing whatever, ding dang dong, singing a song,
introducing things.
Yes. So yeah, she was like a host, party planner, you know, socialite, I suppose.
Right. Would you call it a promoter?
Yeah.
Party promoter?
Yeah, I guess.
And I would imagine that at this point she's throwing these parties in her loft.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's just charging an admission to get in.
Yeah.
She probably has a little bit of a bar set up, and she's, you know, that's
an illegal bar set up because she doesn't have a liquor license.
Oh, she's totally illegal. Yep. Everything is under the table. None of this is on the level. Like, you can't just be doing
even
this.
the character introduction, she gets arrested.
Yeah. I mean,
for
amazing,
all of this.
Isn't it? It's so amazing.
And her interactions with the cops, she's just like...
This has happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about it is so perfect. The introduction of this film is so perfect. As somebody that lives in New York, it's still pinpoint accuracy. Like, that could have just been taken on the street corner like yesterday.
Yeah. I love that she tells the one cop, "Have you ever heard about the police officer that arrested the governor's daughter?" She's just
amazing.
Like, anything to get out of this, you know, to get out of getting arrested. And but this sets up Mary's story, is that, you know, I guess we are to assume that this is how she's paying her rent on this loft. You know, like we said, it's a big cavernous space. You don't really ever see that much of the loft until the very end of the movie. Her surprise party at the end. But it's this big cavernous space. She lives there by herself, I guess, ostensibly, until Leo comes to live with her, to stay with her for a while.
I forget that. Yeah, I always think that Leo and Leo and Derek live with her, and they don't, do they? They're just there.
Yeah.
And then Leo moves in. Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing to remember is, like, in the early 90s, like, the Lower East Side was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So I have lots of artist friends that, like, reminisce on the days when everything was, like, super cheap and, you know, you could get huge spaces for virtually nothing. The downside was they were all gross, you know, and super dangerous, and it was really, really dark times. But yeah.
But hey, you had a big space.
I mean, sure, why not?
You could throw a party.
I'd love to have a space that big, you know?
I mean, if I could make my rent on having a party like a couple of nights a week, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm in. I mean, until you get arrested for for illegally selling booze.
So this is where we meet the
Judy.
characters. Judy. Yeah, because Judy bails her out, and Judy is her godmother.
Yeah.
I'm never really sure what Judy's relationship with her mother is.
Oh, they were friends, it said.
They were just friends,
Yeah, they were friends.
But she kind of talks about her mother like she's an asshole, though.
She talks about her mother like Judy is an asshole. You know, she's like a judgmental... She's an asshole for being so judgmental. She's like... What does she say? She's a woman of weak mind or something like that. She's a woman
no
of
common sense.
Woman of no common sense. I mean, it's like... Who says that about their dead friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
to their kid.
Mm-hmm.
To their kid. And if you're the godparent, you must have got on at some point, surely?
Yep.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
And that's the thing. Judy constantly brings this up about, you know, everything that Mary wants to do. You know, she wants to work at the library. She wants to, you know, go to school. She wants to do all this stuff. And everything, Judy's answer to all of it is, your mother was a woman with no common sense. It's like, you're horrible.
Yeah, you're horrible. She's not horrible. I think she's annoying because she instigates the hostility between them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
so, you know,
and also...
It's no surprise when Mary tries to be nicer. Oh, no. Well, I don't know. That when she tries to be nicer, that Mary is then just like, fuck off.
Yeah. True. I mean, she does bail her out of jail at God knows what time.
She does, yeah.
So, you know, I mean, if she really didn't care about Mary...
And ends up giving her a job at the library.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
So
fine.
I was going to say, one of my favorite lines in the movie that I randomly quote is...
You don't think I'm smart enough to work in your fucking library?
You don't think I could work in your fucking library?
You don't think I could be a librarian. You don't think I could work in a fucking library.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, goodness.
It's amazing.
But you know what this movie does really well is it illustrates to people who are not familiar with it that working in a library, it's not just like some job that you're like, hey,
it's a lot of work.
I can go apply here and work at this job. Even being a clerk, you know, it is a lot of work.
Yeah. Key is people that have jobs, it doesn't matter what your job is, you have to work quite hard at it. And
it's true.
You know, just have a little bit of respect, if nothing else.
Yeah.
It does hopefully indicate that respect is key.
I kind of get the sense, though, that the writer went out of her way to include a lot of, like, deep inside library stuff.
Wouldn't you if you'd set your film in a fucking library?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to set my film in space and not know anything about
just
astronomy.
Be like, I guess this is what it's
like,
about.
Oh, the star is going to like circle a planet. No, you have to, wouldn't you? Come on.
Yeah. And she really did her homework. She spent a lot of time in the library doing that homework.
It's so good.
Because, there's some very inside baseball shit about, like, when they're talking about, I mean, this is later in the movie, but when, you know, Mary really does want to... Mm-hmm. You know, get her degree or whatever, they're talking about like, oh, well, do you want to work in an academic library or do you want to work in a public library? And all that stuff, you can tell that's like some real librarians are like, oh, yeah, you're going to want to talk about this and include it to make it sound fucking real.
I think it's more like the snobbery because it's kind of like when you talk to musicians, like, do you want to sign to a label or do you want to be independent? Do you want to sign to a major label or an indie label? It's just that. I mean, absolutely. I don't read it as anything deeper than that. It's just like surface level. Chit chat, but it's interesting to have that and to have that like classism within the library world, which from academia, I have lots of friends in academia. Academia sounds horrifying.
Oh my God.
And I never, it's like Mean Girls, but with like reading glasses on. You know?
I love it. But really you could talk about like any field and there's going to be that like infighting and snobbery and like all that stuff. And so, so just in this one that they just chose, like we're going to do libraries, like they really got to like the nitty gritty, which is really great.
I mean, one of the first times I've ever seen librarians depicted in a movie, unless it's like a screwball comedy where like your lead heroine is a librarian and then she gets like her makeover.
But I do love that when Mary does walk into the library, she's just like, "Hey, Judy," like at the top of her lungs.
It's amazing.
Amazing. No like thought about anybody. They're just like, shut up.
But you've all seen that girl that goes into Starbucks like, "I want a decaf, frappuccino, mocha, blah, 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 Hello Kitty purse." And you're like, why did everybody need to hear that, you know?
Yeah,
like, we've all seen that girl. Like, she's very real. She's also male as well. We've all seen, like, there's a person like that in every gender.
Anybody that talks on their phone on speaker in public.
Oh, sweet fuck. Why do people...
We're looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the phone down.
But yeah, so we got our introduction with Judy. There's a little bit of like, some history there, some infighting. There's some really fun stuff with Mary and Leo. Leo trying to get his foot in the door, DJing. Mm-hmm. And what is the woman's name who like throws the parties, the cool parties?
It's Renee.
Yeah.
Played by Donna Mitchell. So I always know Donna Mitchell from she's in one scene of The Exorcist. Do you know what scene it is? She's when Ellen Burstyn and all of her snobby DC friends are like at the party and they're all around the piano. Mm-hmm. Renee from Party Girl is there.
Wow,
that's funny.
And she's in like a black dress. And she looks very spooky.
I love Renee. Renee's arc in Party Girl.
Yes.
It's very unexpected, too.
It's so unexpected. It's just outstanding. Her performance is outstanding. I love everything about it. Like the fucking Teddy Rogers. Like, insane. Yeah. It's just amazing. But honestly, being a DJ, I'm like, I do not want to hear certain things, and if anyone plays them, I will go nuclear, and you will see.
I was going to say, what are those artists for you? Of when you hear it when you're out or if you're working?
Come On Eileen. If anyone plays Come On Eileen, I will leave. I leave establishments. Like I was in a cafe. I got up and I walked out and I left. I can't fucking stand it, and I will not be subjected to it. I'm an adult.
That's
no.
Amazing. I was going to say that song's very like high school dance.
It's disgusting.
You also must know, working in nightlife, people that are completely sober and continue their career in nightlife, and you're just like, wow, how do you manage this?
I know, it's very difficult. I do have a lot of friends that are sober in nightlife, and a lot of friends from the 90s who were very not sober in the 90s and now are sober. It's really difficult. It's a really difficult world to navigate with sobriety, and so I do like a daytime party when I DJ, and part of the reason I wanted to do that is for sober friends and friends who work in nightlife who want to dance and, listen to music that they like, but they don't want to be necessarily in a bar when it gets to like the kind of twilight hours where people get a bit too turned and it's hard to be sober around them. Yeah, I can't imagine running a venue though as...
Yeah.
I can imagine running a venue if you don't drink. I can't imagine running it if you're in AA.
Sure.
Very different positions to be in. Like if you're still struggling with addiction, it must be incredibly testing. So like honestly, hats off to anybody that is capable of doing that. It's mind-blowing.
Well, Renee just needs her mocktail. And
she needs her,
she's good to go.
Her virgin, it looks like a virgin Bloody Mary that Lev Shriver makes her.
So just
Lev Shriver's in this movie. What do you think of Lev Shriver's accent?
I mean, awful, but amazing. It sounds like he watched one British TV show. I don't think it's meant to be convincing, though, is the thing.
Sure.
It's just like, he kind of talks like a kind of street Michael Caine, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, Mary, come on. It's amazing.
Thought we were going to get married.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to get married. Go and get a green card, Mary. It's amazing.
And then that's another thing. Liev Schreiber's in this movie. He plays kind of an innocuous character. He's a doorman that likes not a doorman, but a bouncer that you can tell he's into Mary, but kind of harmless throughout most of the movie. And then at the end of the movie, just straight up sexually assaults her.
Yeah, vile.
Yeah.
Oh god, that moment is so. Oh, it's so horrible. It's so hard to watch.
It's so hard to watch, and especially
so
because you haven't spent the last 90 minutes knowing or thinking that he is a bad person. You're just like, well, he's just, whatever. He's just kind of likes her, but she's not into it. You just don't think it's going to go there, and it just does. And
it does. I think it's also, again, sometimes part of the just petri dish of what they were showing, because I think a lot of women deal with that. Very frequently. I think almost every woman I know has found men to be inappropriate at some point in time, and I think he was just the archetype, just one of those nice guys, and then at the right moment the darkness comes out and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. And she was drunk, she was wasted, so it was, God. And it's like, it's crazy. And that's the other thing, that this movie, it is a really fun movie, and it is, for the most part, it's funny and it's upbeat, and, these you love the characters, and then every now and then they just throw these things out at you. You're just like, ooh.
They do. But, does anyone want a truly vapid movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It adds layers to the movie, and it makes it.
Do? Or,
no, I was just like,
oh, I do,
but it makes it more realistic.
It does, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I'll take a vapid TV show.
Sure.
Give me 30 minutes. If I'm in it for 90, I need some nitty gritty. But yeah, so we meet Leo, played by Guillermo Diaz, who's super cute. He's trying to get in at Renee's. He's a DJ. He's up and coming. He's just completely unsure of himself, and just kind of, I guess, Mary kind of gets him a meeting with her. Right? It just seems like Mary just pulls some strings. She knows people.
Well, that's what you're led to believe, but I don't think she did a fucking thing. She just kind of like, they don't really show the moment where she talks to Renee about it. So it's like, I mean, yeah, sure she does.
She could have very well just been like, she's probably going to be here at this time, so just show up.
Yeah.
And he did, and it seemed like, oh, thanks, Mary. You got me this gig.
That whole section is so funny, with him trying to get a DJ gig, and oh my god, him just having no idea about anything. That's very straight dude.
How does she describe him when they're sitting on the couch? Goofy when she's like drinking her champagne.
Yeah.
And the twins come up.
The section on the couch, I have a real affinity with this movie, and I tried to get the rights to sample hello for the song that I launched my last album with, and even though I know the music supervisor and he put me in touch with the director, we still, because it got bought by a different company, it's like all of these films get bought by big houses that don't know they own it, and literally nobody replies. So I really wanted that sample in it, and I couldn't, and I'm so devastated.
It can still happen.
Yeah, that's a great little beat there. I'm always kind of looking in the background to see if there's anybody else that I might recognize.
That you can recognize, sure.
But yeah, the hey hello, like,
that's amazing,
trio.
It's iconic.
Natasha, and like Mary's style. I mean, we haven't even talked about Mary's style, just the street style that she's like pulling off in this movie. It's so specific to the time and to the place, and it just is like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a mixture of designing labels, vintage items, stuff that they probably just pulled from consignment stores. I know that the costume designer did phone some favors in from someone like Todd Oldham too.
But that's the other thing about Mary, our hero character. At one point in the movie, she's at a party in someone's closet, just stealing things.
What are you doing?
Watch the door. Derek, do you think I make a good designer?
Yeah, come on.
Derek, do you think I'd make a good writer?
Yeah, would you hurry up?
Derek, do you think I'd make a good actress?
Sure, but you, come on. Hey, I have a reputation. I can't get caught shoplifting.
We're not shoplifting. Is this a shop? No. Do you see any customers? No. Derek, do you think I'd make a good investment banker? Hello, Chanel.
So it's not shoplifting.
It's amazing. Oh my God.
So you're just like, how do I feel about Mary just stealing fur coats? I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely we've known that asshole friend that would do shit like that, probably.
Oh, absolutely. I've lived with people that did that in London. And they were assholes, but they were also amazing.
Yeah, so much fun.
You can be both. Like, the two things can exist.
I love how Anthony DeSando plays that scene, too, when he finally picks up of what she's doing.
Oh, it's so good. He's a really fantastic actor. His performance in this movie is great.
Yeah.
I really love it. I think everybody in this whole cast, it has to be said, does like an amazing job, you know? Getting those characters spot on. I don't think there's any single person in this movie that I would recast.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek, his like crazy accent is like so over the top.
The Long Island boy. He's from Jersey. His
crazy Jersey accent is like so nuts. I love at the end of the movie when he's like, she really loves that library. Just
library.
Just saying library, but like
so amazing.
The entire movie, he's on a quest to find Carl, the guy that he made out with at a rave.
Carl.
Him and Carl, they shared a moment. They were on ecstasy, making out. And, he's going to find him again. And I feel like I've been there, just somebody that like at a club or at a bar or something, you were just like, that really could have been something. I will never see them again.
And then?
Then they're delivering piñatas or something.
Yeah, I think we've all had like those random encounters where you think you're never going to see them again. And lo and behold, they do kind of pop up.
Yeah.
And also just the character of Derek, I mean, even at this time, this is kind of a cool independent movies, but it's not like mainstream studios were having character types like Derek in movies.
Just a gay guy?
Yeah, and it's done very nonchalantly here. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of queer people just kind of, thrown around in this movie, and there's no introduction to it. It's just like, these are her friends. These are the people at this party. Move on.
This is just what this community is.
Yeah. Whereas other movies of the period, are going to spend entire scenes talking about whether or not someone is gay. Clues.
Yeah.
So.
Are you not a fan?
No, love it.
No, we are.
Love it. Well, we're going to be talking about it later tonight, actually. But they're just so different, like from
they're
a big
different.
studio.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because like in New York, that was just such a non-event in the scheme of like society. I guess it's also like talking about penniless party planners versus like the rich elite, so it's much less of an issue. But I do love that in Party Girl, there's no judgment on what someone is, really. Like there's no like cheering on of judgment about anybody, and it's kind of great for that. Like I love that it's just so like, why shouldn't everybody be living together? Like I read that the director, when she was asked about it, and they were like, you were very representative or something about the people in your movie, and she was like, isn't this what life is like? If your life doesn't look like this, then your life is terrible.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which kind of brings us to, we talked a little bit about Mustafa earlier, but, very early on in the movie, we just kind of see Mary going up to the street vendor. Mustafa, this actor who plays Mustafa, this is his only credit. This is the only thing he's ever been in.
Wow.
He's
so
super
strange,
duper
isn't it?
handsome. Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he's bad. You know, it's not like... I don't know. It's just, okay, he only did one thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't into...
Maybe he wasn't an actor. Maybe he was their friend that did a role. Like, there are... I mean, the guy that played Charlie in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory never acted again.
True. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah,
Which,
absolutely.
I mean, he was also an actual child, so that's more understandable. Who knows?
Yeah, but this actor's name is Omar Townsend, who plays Mustafa. He's super handsome.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like this super handsome Lebanese, you know, street vendor selling pita on the side of the street that Mary just, you know, encounters every day on her walk to the library, and she just becomes infatuated with. Is it because he's exotic, you know, and unattainable that she just has to go out of her way to like learn Arabic, I think she says. They have cute scenes together where she's attempting to speak to him, you know, in his native language.
They do. There's like a nice moment actually where she's like, are you Turkish? And he's like, oh, I'm from Lebanon. Which, as somebody that's from Wales, and I always get told that I'm from England, that resonated with me somewhat. It's just like nice little nuances in the movie that point out common mistakes, you know, that, but in a non-judgmental way. It's like, of course, like your mind is drawn to one thing, and he's selling Turkish food, quote unquote. So it's like, you know, are you from Turkey? No, I'm from Lebanon. It's like, oh, just like broaden the horizon a tiny little bit, and like tiny little baby steps that Mary takes on the way to go from being like total douche to like, you know, neo douche.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, they ultimately have a couple of, you know, interactions. She orders the same thing from him every day. And, and finally she kind of convinces him to go out with him. He gets, you know, he brings this record for her of this like, you know, Lebanese singer that he thinks she's going to like. And it just so happens that it's a really bad day for her.
Yeah, that moment is very crushing, isn't it? That, the misconstrued evening. It's it's an amazing moment in the film. I hate it, but I love that it's there. It really puts you through the ringer, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh, this is the one time that she tried to do something good. Yeah, and she came off then as the asshole.
Yeah, because she's at the library overnight, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. She's not out partying.
Yeah.
She, you know, I mean, she is kind of, does she get drunk or something? It seems like she's not in her right mind. But it's not like she's out partying. She is at the library kind of like trying to better herself, but she just forgot that she had made this date. And in another instance of like our hero characters being assholes, Mustafa shows up at the loft and Leo's there alone. And Leo, who we know to be this insecure, goofy kind of character, is a jerk to Mustafa.
Yeah,
you know,
Awful.
He's trying to like act all tough and like, you know, grabs a record out of his hand and kind of like making fun of him. At least as viewers, we know that Leo is kind of like an insecure, goofy character, so we know he's just kind of like acting tough in front of this guy. You know, I don't know. I kind of always took it that way. I'm like, well, I know he's not that mean. He's just kind of like putting on
also
airs.
maybe like a bit of jealousy with like Mary finding another interest. But yeah, it's a gross moment. It's really, it's such a shame, isn't it? Because you're like, come on, Leo, do better. Because you're kind of rooting for him, I think, as like the hero of the movie. But yeah, that's a gross scene.
Yeah, and then Mustafa does end up going to Renee's because that's where Leo kind of points him. Oh, she's she's probably at Renee's. He goes to Renee's, stands in line. I love the line situation outside of Renee's because Liev Schreiber's there. He's the bouncer. He lets in who he knows, and we've all been in this situation. You know, people don't have to wait in line because they know somebody. They just walk right in.
Yeah.
And then they just show kind of everybody waiting in line. And the people waiting in line are just like, I'm looking at these extras that are just standing there. And I'm like, you're never going to
get in.
I'm also like, why do you want to go there? Like, who are you people? Like, What on earth are you going in there for? Like, it doesn't even look like the kind of thing you'd want to go to.
Exactly.
It's just so weird.
They don't look like the type.
They look like they've just come out of, I don't know, like the bowling lane or like Walmart or something. And they're trying to go to like this exclusive, like insane nightclub wearing
Absolutely.
like a fucking beige jacket. Like, I don't think so. Come on.
And like moosed hair. Yeah, it's very interesting.
The girl and
situation.
the guy that gets punched to the ground and like his fucking like Ricky Lake like girlfriend. It's just amazing. It's so fab.
Yeah, you kind of hear like in the background, she's just like, "Oh no, like somebody help."
Somebody help. Like, oh, you've never been to a club before, girl. No. Come on.
Nobody's helping you, especially on the sidewalk.
In the Lower East Side, come on. No.
But
this movie does make me miss going out.
Yeah,
makes me miss it.
Not standing in line outside of a club, but let me just say I've never had to spend too much time in line outside of clubs, just because, you know, might be able to walk my way up to the front, but I do miss going out. Yeah, we'll be back.
I love the scene with Mary and Judy on the bench.
Yeah,
that Mary is really excited that kind of what she got up to last night, and Judy just assumes, oh, you just went to a party and had fun and we're out all night. But there's something a little more to it. Is this the scene where she gets told to leave the information desk?
No, that's
to go take a break.
What do they want Mary for?
Oh yes, it is. Yeah, no, this is not. So it's when she's been working too hard. She's like, I just want to do a good job, Howard. And it's like, you are Mary. Just go and take a break.
Oh, when she yells at the patron.
Hey,
so
why don't we just put the books back anywhere we damn well like?
We don't care.
So I worked at a bookstore for almost 10 years, and I can so relate to that. It's like a Saturday night, the store is a fucking disaster, and you just see a teenage girl just randomly put a book down right in front of you.
Hear that, everybody? Our friend here has given us a great idea. We'll just put the books any damn place we choose. We don't care, right? Isn't that right?
I've been there.
You just want everyone
It sucks.
to die.
You've given us a great idea.
Everybody can just put the books anywhere.
Oh my god.
It's a fun little rant.
The thing with the bench scene is that it is so perfect about reflecting every misconstrued interaction between an older adult and a younger adult. The generational gap, and like you really see that like to a point someone is trying and it's just failed, you know? I've had those moments with people older than me, like people that I've really been trying to connect with, and like it's missed the mark, and it's so disappointing. Like that moment on the bench is so perfect in that real human error moment on both parts there that it gives you. It's like, it's so good. This film has these like heavy moments interspersed with like all the kind of like nya 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 meh, 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 clack 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 clack, and then when they come, they're really just so poignant. You know, they're really great.
Yeah, that's the kind of the thing about those like 90s independent movies, is that they really went to these places that mainstream movies of the era just weren't going to, you know, and that's what was so like refreshing about them. You kind of have to give Judy a pass. She was having a hot flash.
She was.
She's going through menopause.
She's going through the change.
give her a break for once. But yeah, that's really a great scene. But we do kind of see Mary's progression at the library, in that, you know, she starts to take it more seriously. Yeah, and she's getting better and better every day. You know, that night where she stood up Mustafa, she pretty much learned the entire Dewey Decimal System.
She did. I'm intrigued by it and disappointed by the fact that Judy still doesn't trust her, given the fact that every other member of staff is like, she's amazing. So it's like, how could the boss not remotely understand that this woman has learned everything overnight and is outperforming other members of staff. Like how does that not get referenced at all? You know.
It's just her bias because she feels like she knows her. She's family, so she's like, you think she's doing well, but I know she's gonna fuck up. She's gonna, the other shoe's gonna drop. She's just gonna like walk out or something. So I think Judy's just afraid that Mary's just gonna.
She's worried that she's gonna flake out.
Yeah, she's gonna flake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is unfortunate, but you know.
I like the theme of the myth of Sisyphus. Should we unpack that a little bit? Just sort of where does that relate to Mary's story?
Syphilis.
Telling me if your name wasn't fucking syphilis, you wouldn't be pissed off.
I love when she's explaining it to Leo because so Mustafa explains to her the myth of Sisyphus and, relating it to his life as an immigrant in the United States alone in New York City in the 90s. He's left all of his family behind. He goes to work every day selling falafel. And you're just like, that sounds awful.
He's trying to obtain the American dream, but he just can't get up that hill.
He was a teacher in Lebanon. Yeah. All of his money he's sending back to his family. And again, it's another thing where you're just like, this fun movie about house music and like pretty clothes. Then you're just like, oh my God. Yeah. This guy's life.
Like heads up to anybody in America who's, born in America. Please be kind to immigrants because it's really, really difficult moving here.
So hard.
And dealing with the way things are here. Like, spoiler alert, like it doesn't work like this everywhere in the world. Some countries don't enjoy paying for healthcare. They don't enjoy ATM fees. They don't enjoy not being allowed into a restaurant when one of the people hasn't shown up yet. Like, there are so many cultural differences. And like, I really feel for Mustafa. I'm obviously not pushing a falafel cart around New York. Yeah. Like, I did move here on the scale of music or whatever. So I'm definitely in a more luxurious life than he is. But God, it's tough moving country,
Yeah. Are you, what is it? An alien?
I'm legal. I'm legal.
Outstanding ability.
I am an alien of extraordinary ability.
Extraordinary ability? Is that what it is?
Doesn't that just sound like some kind of like?
It sounds like you could stop time if you
Drag Race like theme.
Yeah,
right.
Alien of extraordinary ability. It sounds like you could stop time if you touch your index fingers together.
Don't
like, is that your extraordinary ability?
Or it's like perfectly cooking rice on the first time.
Ooh, that's an extraordinary
ability, isn't it?
Really good pancakes. Yeah. So, Mustafa relates this story to Mary, and then Mary now relates it to Leo, and she's just like, God, you idiot. Don't you know the story? It's famous. Mm-hmm. And Leo's just like, it sounds awful. Fuck that story.
Yeah. Amazing.
And she's just like, no, this is my life. This is what I'm doing. Like she immediately just puts it, back to her, and she's just like, no, I totally get it. Me as, straight white girl in the city. I understand.
I work at a library. Trust me. Yeah. I'm an expert on this one.
Mincing around a kitchen with a towel as a veil, saying like horrifically racist song.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the scene where she organizes her record or his records? Because it's one of my favorite moments of the movie. I love that bit of acting with Parker when she's just like finishing up with the records, and then she just like sits on her bed and just like is waiting for him to notice. And you can tell that she's so pleased with himself. And then you just see Leo just lose it.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, what would you do if someone came in and reorganized everything you had?
Because he probably has like 45 minutes or so to get ready.
Yeah. I have things organized in a very specific way in my, like, I have like 1,500 records. I have them organized in a very specific way. But I know where everything is. Like, if someone tells me where to get that record from, I know exactly where.
Yeah.
Like, within 2 or 3 records to get it from. And if someone reorganized that to like a more useful system, I would absolutely like throw them from my apartment window into the goddamn sky. Like,
even if there was a card catalog.
Oh, especially if there was a card catalog.
I love that bit where she gives them it.
Throw it out after them.
The tiny pencil, and like a piece of paper.
Here, just write it down.
Tiny pencil. It's amazing.
Just tell me what you want. Mighty Real by Sylvester. Shout out to our theme song.
I love
Disco Classics, Divas, Male.
Divas Male. Her subcategories are amazing.
They're amazing, and they're also extremely accurate, and they are very good. You know, I think actually maybe I subconsciously learned my categories, so I have like, you know, gay interest male, gay interest
Crisco
divas,
disco.
gay interest like diva adjacent. So like it's very weird categorization with my my records, but it definitely works. So you know, applause to Mary, but like maybe don't do it when they're not looking.
Yeah, exactly.
Or without his permission.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the little cartoon. Well, the huge cartoon. It takes up like 2/3 of the piece of cardboard. But the little cartoon that she drew of her face, it even has her little widow's peak, like right
amazing
at the top. I love that. But Leo's so pissed off. He straight up says, "You fucking bitch."
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh. He hates you right now.
Oh,
it is a great scene.
So good.
But hey, when she read that first line, I mean, granted, she was at the library all night. I would think that it would take more than an evening to learn the entire Dewey Decimal System.
One would think, yeah. Even as an alien of extraordinary ability, I think it would take me longer than one night to learn.
Yeah.
Especially if I was like stoned out of my goddamn face.
I have memories of learning the Dewey Decimal System when I was in grade school, when we would go to the library for class.
They taught us the basics
So
of
they
it
taught us
because
the
we had
basics
to.
of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
Gosh, do I even know? But there's like a certain way how you catalog them with numbers,
the numbers
though,
and all that.
and letters.
It's hard. I don't know. I don't have that kind of brain.
Horrendous.
Yeah. But she, you know, that introductory sentence that she said, a universe of items, be they, you know, and the last thing she said was records.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just kind of wanted like a little ding to go off in her head, like, ooh, records. Like, I can do that. I can apply this in the real world. But, you know, he does get his records, you know, to be at Renee's. So at some point, Mary decides to throw this giant, you know, Middle Eastern themed genie in the bottle party, which we kind of talked about.
Oof. Yeah.
And, you know, on the one hand, you can say, hey, it was the 90s. Can we even get away with scenes like this in a movie now, even if it is commentary, you know?
I love Derek's I Dream a Genie look.
Derek's look with the
yes, amazing. Yes,
their looks are so good.
The looks, I mean, all the looks are absolutely amazing. Her like Princess Jasmine fantasy is, you know, they're all great. Like the dancer looks amazing. It's just so wrong.
Yeah,
but they do look really fierce.
Absolutely. We didn't even talk about Venus, who I love.
Oh, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That's it's the Go-Go Girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Can you move? Your cigarette's bothering me. Get a last name, honey.
She's really such a star in this movie. Like her interactions with Leo are great. Her presence, like she's gorgeous.
Yeah,
she's
so pretty.
cool. And like I love the fact that they gave a go-go dancer this storyline where she became like a kind of leading or like, you know, pivotal character. It's awesome. What a great inclusion.
And also too that he's just like, what's your name? And she's like, Venus. And he's like, Venus what? And she goes, just Venus. And I'm like, yep, you know, dancers, like go-go girls, like any of that. It's just like when you go out in nightlife, why not?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, love it. But you know, she has this idea to have this huge party. She brings in Mustafa to sell falafel. He's kind of like, all right, you know, I guess.
And this is sort of the low point of Mary's struggle in this movie with trying to find herself. This is kind of like her rock bottom before she really gets all of her shit together too.
Yes. Oh, so just to say to any listeners that haven't actually seen this, she's been fired from the library at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
For having sex with Mustafa in the library, leaving the windows open, getting like lots of out of print copies.
Some of our best poets.
Some of our best poets. And none of those Believe you me, none of those are out of print. I'm so sorry. She quotes 3 very major poets.
Very major.
I love that Judy tells her acting like the town idiot makes me sick.
The town idiot.
The town idiot. Put her in a dunce cap, you know. Put her in yeah. So yeah, you know, having lost a job, throws this party, and it's such a car crash of a event, isn't it? Like, my God.
I mean, she's trying. Like, she tells. I keep forgetting Liev Schreiber's character's name. What the hell is his name? Well, Liev Schreiber. She tells him, like, Nigel. I want this party to be legit, no drugs, like all of that. But then, you know, there's still like drug deals going down.
And what does she tell him? That I want something that will make my unborn
babies
children grow gills.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, because at this point, Mustafa, she's kind of gotten into it with him because he's kind of telling her, like, dude, it's 2:00 in the morning. Nobody wants falafel right now. Like, what the hell am I doing here?
It's such a, you know, shining the mirror back on vacuous nightlife, you know, where, like, no one's really considered anything. It's just like, oh, everything's such a gas. Let's just do it. And, you know, I'm sure that it was, like, paying homage and critiquing the whole, like, Michael Alec world, that where they didn't really give a shit about anyone's feelings, and it was just, like, exploitative, and everything was so fun, but it was at the expense of everybody that it wasn't fun for, you know? So it's such a crushing scene. It's really, like, oh, it's so brutal.
Yeah. But she looks great.
But she looks fabulous. I mean, everyone in that room looks absolutely fabulous. Renee, propping up the bar, waiting for a mocktail, looks amazing.
Yeah. This is when Renee's really coming into her own as, like, she's getting her shit together. She's less, like, just, like, angry at everybody.
And I like that Renee is trying to have this intervention with Mary, thinking that she's an alcoholic.
Oh, my God. Renee is amazing.
Sex addiction.
Hi, I'm Mary. Sorry, I need a drink.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Okay. So what happens after this party?
This
Mary
is when
she
she starts to be like, well, I'm going to just go to school for this.
Okay.
Because she goes to all of her librarian friends, and they're starting to map out her career.
This is
where she's going to go.
This is when they have their inside baseball conversation about, like, real library
Love it,
shit.
though.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the infamous line, "You're going to help me, bitch."
Yeah.
Where she slams the other librarian up against the wall and makes her help her find how to apply for the school.
Yeah. And she gladly does. I mean, at this point, I think they all like Mary a lot. She's been helpful, you know. They needed another clerk. Because at the beginning, Judy does say that she just had to let somebody go. So they're shorthanded, you know, short-staffed. So
but it's something that she's starting to take seriously, and she's going to pursue it.
Yeah.
And I can definitely sort of see that growth of maybe the Mary from the beginning of the movie would have been too embarrassed to, like, say that I'm going to pursue a career in library science. That she feels that maybe it's not cool. But we've just sort of seen her grow and really come into it.
Yeah.
Yes. And, Mary convinces Judy to meet her at the loft so that she can kind of present this idea to her, you know, get it all out in the open. At the same time...
It's Mary's birthday.
It's Mary's birthday.
They're throwing her a surprise party.
Yes. Leo and Derek and everybody are at the loft.
Derek meets his love.
Carl.
Meets Kurt.
It's actually Kurt.
Kurt.
I love how that actor pronounces Kurt, too.
Kurt.
He's super German.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it in German.
Kurt.
Kurt.
This actor's, he's so German that his last name is actually...
It's Verhoeven.
Verhoeven.
Is he Dutch?
I don't know. Maybe he is Dutch, actually, now that we're talking about it.
Oh, he's from Germany. He's from Munich.
But he's super cute, though. You can see why Derek's been pining after him all this time.
There's a cute moment actually where after he's describing the piñata, somebody walks past and Kurt goes like, "Mind the piñata." It's
He knows
so
what it
nice
is.
that he's already like so sweet to his like former lover. It's really lovely. It's like such a this is actually a good person in the movie, you know?
Yeah. Finally.
I love when Guillermo says what piñatas are. Just kind of like we're
His
all
little
learning.
explanation,
or
yeah.
like we're having like a teachable moment. He's teaching him what a piñata is.
What is a piñata? Yeah. This is kind of the first time we really see the scope of the loft. It's daytime. You know, there's sunlight coming through. It doesn't look as like dark and sad as it has throughout. But
so when I was probably 17 and watching this movie, that I didn't really have a concept of male strippers. But when that cop comes there and he undresses to the jockstrap, me being like 17 years old did not know this was a thing. And I'm just like, what? Just like, I think that I just associated jockstraps with just like old men that go to the gym, use them, and maybe you're supposed to wear one in like football. But I did not know that was a thing that strippers and sexy men just wore. So big moment for me.
And you never looked back.
Yep, and I never looked back. And now I have probably like 7 in my underwear drawer.
Wow. Oh, at least.
There you go.
Jockstrap enthusiast. And we blame it all on Party Girl.
Gets handcuffed to the pole.
Yes, when you know Mary walks in, they say surprise, and she just starts ripping all of the decorations off.
Because she knows Judy's on her way.
Yeah.
It's actually really cute the way she's doing it. Like the way Parker Posey is playing this, like, oh shit.
It's so good.
It's really funny.
And also, like, you know, the Renee classic moment where she wants a knife to burst the balloons, and Renee's like, I will not allow you to harm yourself. Absolutely. Just everything about it. Like the hysteria, the misunderstandings, everything about this scene is just so delicious. You know, it's like such
everything's coming together.
Yeah, it's fab.
Yeah, super funny. You know, Judy walks in, and she walks in, you know, the cop comes in, but at this point we don't know he's a stripper. They think he's a real police officer. And we have set up in the beginning of the movie that, you know, Mary's been arrested in her own home.
This is something that regularly does happen to her.
So she's just like, fuck, now I'm going to get arrested again. She's
you
like,
haven't read her rights yet. A love slave has no rights.
Oh my god, it's just so disgusting. It's
I think it's edited really funny too, because he takes the shirt off, throws it down, he's dancing with Mary, and then in one shot he's dancing with her in full-on pants and like a belt and everything, cuts away to the crowd, cuts back to her, and now he's just
no pants.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you could think that, oh, well, it was edited kind of funny, but like it works as like a joke. The way it
so
just
good,
comes back so fast, and he's just like, boom, ass
naked.
out.
Yeah.
And that stripper has a huge ass.
He definitely has a bubble butt on him.
I have to say. We just watched it last night. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. They cast him well, let's say.
They did. They cast him very well. And I love that once she handcuffs him to the pole, he's just like, God damn it. Like, if you look at the actor back there, he's just like, oh,
do we know where the key is?
Yeah, and there's that, like, voiceover. He's looking for the key.
Judy realizes from all of her friends, all of Mary's friends, that this is something that she's very serious about, too.
Yes. This is when Derek says how much she loves that library.
Library. And I love that to prove that she's serious, she describes a very simple task that she did that most people using a library could do. But for some reason, it's so magnificent that it persuades Judy that Mary has indeed learned the tricks of the trade. And it's a magical moment.
Her delivery of how she figured out what would be the best, schooling path to take. I mean, it's right up there with Lisa Kudrow describing the formula.
I was
absolutely.
about to say that I think that moment in Romeo and Michelle is inspired by Parker Posey's. Even like the angle of the face to the camera is almost identical.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny. I mean, it fits perfectly. It kind of like ties up in a nice little package.
Other things I wanted to bring up about this movie that are pretty cool to look back on. This is an early streaming movie. This was one of the first movies to stream online. Party Girl premiered on the internet June 3rd, 1995.
1995, though. Who had the internet in 1995?
Yeah,
Just
I want to know
Posey.
who was streaming this movie.
I mean, we had like AOL that you had to dial up and like.
I mean,
so,
God,
you
that
couldn't
wasn't-
stream a movie.
That was not...
No.
I remember it used to take me like an hour to download a bitmap file.
Yep.
So there is no way in hell I was going to
Yeah.
be watching a movie online.
Maybe
And
at,
that was
like-
that was in like 1998 in Wales. Like we didn't have the internet in 1995. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe like at like NASA or something. There, you know.
I almost kind of wonder
Really
if
good-
it was
really good
like
streaming.
event parties that they live streamed it and were able to project it. But still, this was 95, though. I don't know.
I mean, I think it was a novelty. I think
Yes.
it was a novelty.
It was
like,
just a
we're-
sort of
yeah.
to say and market that the movie streamed on the
Yeah.
internet.
But I don't
Yeah.
think anybody actually was able to watch it that way.
No.
Were you
But amazing.
familiar
Yeah.
with the Christine Taylor short-lived TV show
Me?
from 1996?
I am not. I no, from 1996.
Yes.
Do you say? No, I
Sitcom.
mean, like in the UK, none of this
Oh yeah, that wouldn't have made it.
made
yeah.
a dent. Once more, to repeat, I'm foreign. So, no, that never made it to us.
Only 4 episodes air, but 6 were shot.
Okay. I have memories of it. I remember it. I had seen the movie at the time. I just have kind of vague memories of being like, oh, holy crap, they made a sitcom out of Party Girl. And kind of giving it a shot. The tone is so crazy.
Right.
Like, it's Christine Taylor is just like this beautiful blonde. She's not Mary.
I don't. It doesn't really work as the character. We love Christine Taylor, but
I
yeah.
love her. But
The thing is, there's not much more to wring out of that character, like any of those characters. There's not much more to give. Like, they're not very deep.
right.
You could have, like, you know, farcical adventures, I suppose, but, like, no one really needs that. Like, again, with Romy and Michelle, like, when doing a miniseries or TV series about that, like, you don't actually need any more of those characters because it's perfect as it is, you know?
It really feels like, because we found the pilot.
It's on
YouTube. And it really feels like they being like, you know, television executives were just like, okay, Clueless and Friends.
Yes.
We want to capitalize on both of those and make something, you know, and make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Put it together. Oh, this property will work. This is about a girl, you know, throwing parties, nightlife.
You know, yeah, thinking about it in relation to Friends, I can see how that might have worked.
Yeah.
But I guess on TV, you couldn't have done a lot of the stuff that made Party Girl what it is. Like the drugs, the sex,
It would have been
gays,
completely watered down. Yeah.
You know, the gays and people of color. I mean, like, they weren't very prominent in Friends, were they? Unless they were like a comic joke.
Yes.
Comic joke is terrible. Comic relief. I mean, so yeah. I mean, God bless them
absolutely.
for trying.
I mean, they tried. And
Swoozie Kurtz plays Judy, and John Cameron Mitchell is just her friend.
well, he's kind of like the Derek character.
Yeah,
Wow.
supposed to be the Derek character.
Yes, which is very interesting. But yeah, we caught the pilot on YouTube. I'm not sure if there's more on there. There's probably more full episodes, but it's watered down for sure. But
Wow.
what
At least
are you
it
gonna do?
reminds you to watch the movie, right?
Exactly. Yeah, if anything. What else you got, Scott?
I mean, I just have some of these quotes in this movie that make me laugh. You have the cheap 99-cent kind. When she's talking about the shampoo. Love that line.
The cheap 99-cent kind. Yeah, there's really good, like, the dialogue is really funny. Like,
It's very funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I just have this idea in my head that this movie is just this fun little romp, you know, because there are such funny little bits written in there. The dialogue is really genius.
A trained monkey learned this system on PBS in a matter of hours.
Repeated over and over.
That's like a Simpsons gag right there.
Yeah, I have her saying that in my brain.
Whoever wrote the script was really such or whoever like edited and you know condensed the script or whatever.
Daisy co-wrote the script.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
so fantastic. Like, all of these characters are like rip-roaringly hilarious. Even the characters that get darker, like, they're so funny to listen to. And even the like insipidness and the bitchiness is just so delicious because it's so well written.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what drew me to it, you know, as a young kid.
Yeah, same thing.
Was how funny and smart the script is.
Yeah.
You know, Parker Posey, obviously, just her delivery, her performance is just so like magnetic. I just want to watch her in every scene.
It's really amazing.
Yeah. And there's a lot of cute boys in it. You know, again, being like a gay kid watching this movie, just being like, wow, this nightlife situation, this big city, like all these people,
like this is the world that awaits me when I can leave my small town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just seeing like the gay character is not radical and is not and is just like part of a very small friendship group. It was very refreshing. I can't imagine seeing that like as a teenager. That would have blown my mind, I think.
Yeah.
We had something in the UK called This Life, which was very similar. No, not similar to it. It wasn't a comedy per se, but it had a group of friends that had just finished college and one of them was gay, and it was like a house of, you know, straight people living with this gay friend, which at the time in the UK was so controversial and so, you know, like a topic of discussion. But in this movie, it's really just like, there it is, you know? It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of why this movie just holds this like special place, like for me at least.
Yeah, and I mean, we love to see sort of a misfit character who feels out of place, because we all feel out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I also feel like Mary's delivery has inspired every single drag queen
Oh, definitely, yeah.
that has ever lived since this movie was made.
Yeah.
And you can't go out on the stage just with one earring. I love that Lady Bunny delivery.
Oh, it's amazing.
You know, seeing her in this, and then I feel like Wigstock was around right about the same time, and
yeah,
my family, we did have cable TV, so I was able to kind of. I knew who Lady Bunny was at like 17 years old in like 1995. I was like, oh, I know that one. I know that voice.
Love Lady Bunny so much.
You know, and it's just one of those things that just sticks with me to this day. Her Facebook posts today can be a little much every now and then, but I still love her.
Well, you know, yeah.
I get it. I get where she's coming from.
She's pushing the envelope.
She's pushing the envelope.
She's a lot of fun to see perform live, too.
Oh, my
We've had the
goodness
pleasure of
gracious.
seeing her
Get
here
at
at
it.
Precinct, and she's so much fun.
Get out of town, her live performances.
That scene of her in Wigstock where she's on the phone with New York Port Authority.
Oh, hi, Mr. Morris. Yes, I'm calling. I organize an event called Wigstock. It's an outdoor festival that we hold every year, and I'd left you a message because, well, we might be having it in Battery Park this year, and I really wanted to know if you thought it might be possible to put a wig on the Statue of Liberty. It would only be for just like 8 hours during the day. Do you think that would... Hello?
Asking them to put the giant wig on the Statue of Liberty. Hello?
They hang up on...
Hello? Yes, a wig on the Statue of Liberty. Hello?
Genius. That's another one that's like impossible to find is Wigstock.
It's on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah.
You have to watch it in like a million
You have to watch
parts.
it in sections.
Yeah.
Right.
They need a criterion that shit.
I went to the Wigstock thing 2 years ago that they did.
Oh, fun.
Like
Okay.
Which was really so special.
Yeah.
Dina Martina's performance was my favorite.
Oh, my God.
Did you see,
Dina-
that's on YouTube. Have you seen her
We
performance?
saw the HBO movie.
No,
but
you
I
need
don't-
to see her performance from
I
Wigstock.
don't think I saw the Dina one. No.
Watch
yeah.
it. The minute we stop talking, watch it. It's there. It's the funniest thing I have ever seen in the flesh. Me and my friend Sean laughed for about 35 minutes after it happened, nonstop, crying, screaming. It was so funny. I nearly threw up. It's just one of
That's
the
amazing.
fucking funniest things I've ever seen happen in real time. It was amazing.
Dina Martina is absolutely insane, and I love it. So we will
Insane.
we'll
check it out.
check it out after this. I got a lot of Dina Martina vibes from Ginny Lemon. Just saying, I mean, just aesthetic, obviously, but like, yeah, I don't know.
She's not Dina Martina.
No. I'm just saying, like, I got like images came to my head when I would see her, but she's not anywhere like, yeah. So
good for you.
So, I think we've come to the end of our Party Girl.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's so good.
We definitely recommend searching it out.
Yeah, and definitely if you have not seen it, watch it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
it's so good. I mean, regardless of what you get from the movie, it's such a fabulous time capsule. And watching people pop up, you know, whether you know them or not, or like maybe now you do know who some of these people are. Even people... Even young kids that watch Drag Race have seen Lady Bunny on Drag Race, which, you know, is like another level of generational introduction again. Like, just it's such a incredible way to see old New York filmed like from the streets and like seeing the locations. And like I live really close to the public library, which is just amazing. Like everything about this film is so completely fantastic.
That's really cool.
Origins and Species.
Origins and Species.
What? Oranges and peaches?
I mean, she does. The woman is slurring. She does sound like she's saying something else.
I mean, I work customer service, and I've definitely had those exchanges where somebody says something to me, and I repeat something completely different from what I heard. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've worked in bars and restaurants and stuff before, and I've definitely had people inebriated or just like really weird that have said things in a really difficult manner, and you just can't understand what they're saying, and then you're like, oh.
Oh, goodness. Well, Rod, this has been so much fun.
So much fun. So what have you been up to? I know that you just recorded something with Jujubee. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Jujubee is in my top 3 queens of all time.
Love her.
And we just re-recorded a song from my last album, Fun City. It was the only one. So every other song on the album had a guest vocalist apart from this one. And I became friends with Juju over the last year. I really loved her EPs. I think her voice is gorgeous. So just as we were texting one day, I was like, do you feel like adding vocals to this track? And she did, which is super fun. So that comes out on the 26th of February. Or, you know, if this episode's already out, it came out on the 26th of February. And yeah, I've just been trying to keep busy in this weird time, you know, talking earlier about wishing you could go dancing again. Like I've lost half of my identity, I suppose. Like being a live performer, being a DJ, traveling the world, usually third to half of a year. And I've been in this fucking room every day for 365 days, which is ever so hard.
Well, yeah, we're all getting by, man. Kind of crazy.
I've been donating to all of my favorite bars and creative spaces that need it, that have a GoFundMe up.
Trying, yeah.
So,
Thank you for doing that. That's an amazing thing
it's important.
To do, you know.
It means a lot to the community.
Generous. People have been very generous this year. Unfortunately, you know, it shouldn't be down to people with no money to have to do that. There is a government, which is apparently supposed to be running the country, but it would appear not. So thank you to everybody that has been so kind. Like seeing that level of compassion and support for the community has been so inspiring in a really shit year, you know?
Yeah.
And I hope that whenever we get back to doing events, we can repay you for all the kindness that you've shown.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, why don't you tell our listeners how they can find you online?
I am in my apartment, so I'm very...
And your address is?
My address is 23, fuck you. No, I'm online. All of my handles are BrightLightX2. So, you know, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. If you type in Bright Light, I usually come up. Or like some random LED store in Chinatown. Yeah, I'm, you know, very active on like Twitter and Instagram. I do little online parties once a month on Twitch. That's Brightlight X2 as well, where I do like a daytime Saturday DJ party themed around Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Ooh, fun.
And yeah, I also run like a little record label / umbrella called Yas Queen, which is YSKWN. And I'm using it as a way to connect LGBTQ plus creatives, businesses, entrepreneurs. And if you go to the website, yasqueen.com, there's like links of like LGBTQ plus resources you can use if you're, in need of support mentally, financially, whatever. And other creatives that you can connect with, just to try and do something for the community, because community is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent.
Thank
That's
you so
great.
much.
Yeah, thank you
You've
so
been
much.
so much fun to talk to about this movie.
Oh, well, it's a fun movie, so I'm glad.
I hold it close to my heart. It means a lot to both of us.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
me too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's weirdly, so my friend Jeffrey, the guy that I used to date, actually, who showed me this film first, it's his birthday today. So it's like a weird serendipity of like talking about the film he introduced me to on his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jeffrey.
Happy birthday, Jeffrey.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, so much fun. We hope to have you on again.
I mean,
Sometime
like I
in the
said, I
future.
ain't going anywhere, so.
Right? Us too. We'll be here. You know where to find us.
Thank you for having me. I love the podcast. It's such a cool idea to talk about all of these ridiculous, insane, wonderful movies that, deserve every piece of praise they get.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for participating. Well, we will see you very soon, but it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
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 And thank you so much for listening, everybody. Another great episode in the can.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, it is time for some shout-outs.
Patreon shout-outs.
Thank you for being a friend, everybody. Let's say hello to all of our lovely patrons. Paul, Jamie, Drew, Jimmy, Genevieve, Dawn, Josh, M, Aaron, Melinda and Jim, Jessica, John, Nick, Christine, Rufino, and Mitch. Thank you for being a friend, everybody. If you'd like to check out our Patreon, head over to www.patreon.com/movies that made us gay. We're going to be dropping a brand new Watch With Us commentary track.
We're going to be recording it right after we get off this call.
Exactly. So it'll already be up on Patreon by the time you're listening to this. But hey, we've got some fun ones in the can over there. So check out our lovely tiers, and maybe you can support us and get some free content or some additional content.
Get our fun monthly newsletter.
Yes, indeed. Newsletter's really great.
I've been doing recaps of the Oscar race, which I love to write about any of that shit. So
it's my favorite season. Awards. We'd also love it if you would rate and review our podcast.
Give us 5 stars.
Yes, head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars. We'd also love it if you wrote us a great review. It helps us to get noticed.
Those mysterious iTunes algorithms.
Yes, indeed. It helps us come on the charts and for people to see us when they're just kind of searching for similarly themed podcasts. Just do it. It's free. It's easy. It'll take you 2 minutes, and it'll give us a little bump. You can find us on social media on Instagram and Facebook at Movies That Made Us Gay, and we're on Twitter
at MTMUGPod.
You can find me, Pete, on Instagram and Twitter at Peter Lasagna.
I'm Oscar Scott on Twitter, Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and Scott Youngbauer on Letterboxd.
Awesome possum. Well, we'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.